Good morning people, hello and welcome to another vlog episode of the India Darshan travel series. So if you saw the previous vlog, you'd know that on the way back to our homestay, I've made it to Chittorgarh. And right now I'm at the Chittorgarh fort. I already started climbing up. I'm at the viewpoint where I was the last time, where you see the aerial view of the entire Chittor city behind me. So it's this kind of like a serpentine route that you climb all the way up. And at this viewpoint, you get a very cool view. And last night in the previous vlog I was here to check out the light and sound show, but today we are here to explore all the sites within the fort palaces. So as I understand it, this was like a self-enclosed city, so everything is inside. We're gonna go inside and check it out, so let's get the vlog started. So as I mentioned in the previous vlog, this is about 700 acres worth of fortification inside, and this fort wall runs about 13 kilometers. So there's a whole lot to see, and the staff at the hotel told me to get up bright and early and try to get there. So it's just 8 a.m. and I'm already here, and there's not a whole lot of crowd, but I do see some auto rickshaws and people driving up and down. So not sure if they are locals or if they are tourists lining up to explore the area. So I'm gonna get a head start as well, move inside, try to get to the farthest point first and then start inching towards back to the exit gate. But first, let's take a selfie with the aerial view of the Chittorgarh city. So finally entered the fort premises and starting to see some of the iconic sites already. So there is this one massive pillar. I think this is the victory pillar. Have to go look up a board sign first. They did mention that Maharaja Kumbhalgarh, when he won two of the most iconic sites, he built this one. Probably is the same. And the wall lining of this fort, I think, is the second largest after the Great Wall of China. It's that long. I've never seen a fort wall that long. And the weather is cooperative so far. It's a bit cloudy, but it's starting to get warm. So let's start walking around and cover some points before the sun comes out. I don't see a board sign confirming it, but the geography makes sense. So this must be the Vijay Stamp, the victory pillar, and then this must be the king's courtyard, and that must be where his throne used to be, and then everybody used to sit around. And then these were the temples. I was seeing one there. I don't know what that is, but at least one of the two temples I was seeing during the light and sound show. The light and sound show is somewhat odd in its way that they did it. So I was expecting more like projections on the walls, ancient fort walls, so that you can get an immersive experience, but they just had like lights popping up and then there was just audio. It was a little bit difficult. So if you're hearing it for the first time, you won't be able to correlate, but if you have fragments of history in your memory, probably you can close your eyes and try to recall. So that was a little bit sad, but it's their way of doing it. So every other light and sound show there's something or the other. It's a little bit amiss, but anyways, at least this is nice and green for now, and maybe the temples are open so I can try and go inside and see what the historic temples look like from back in the day. I just overheard a guide explaining about the vegetation of this area. He was explaining three kinds of plants. One was a custard apple, 60%. The other one was wild rose. Forgot the third one. But he was explaining that the custard apple wood is also used to make yarn and then clothes out of it, which is very unique. I don't know if I can find a shop to just get a touch and feel of what that cloth feels like. But yeah, still taking the aerial view. I like this way. So there's the city behind, there's this fort complex and a little bit of the ruins here. It's pretty nice standing up here. But I think now I need to get down if I want to get to the temple. So I'm exploring the premises behind the temple, and apparently there's a pond here. There are people diving, swimming across to the other side. Looks like a fun place to hang out. Yes, these are locals that already knew about it, so I had a change of clothes and swimming attire, but otherwise most people wouldn't know that this exists. Looks like a cool place. Wish the water was a little bit more bluer than greener, so I'm just gonna hang out here for a little bit. So the pond that we just saw is actually Gomukh Kund on the south side of this temple, Samadhishwara temple, and that's the temple. It was a very cool experience and interesting climb, already a pre 9 a.m. climb, early morning hiking. And there are a lot of langurs out here, my nemesis, so I have to be a little bit careful. Found a section of the wall that you can walk on, but nobody comes here, and it's just birds flying full speed over you. Just a whole bunch of jungle and a lot of stairs and incline. I don't know how far this goes, but I found a nice spot for a selfie. So these are the walls, and if you look through them, you see the entire city down there, and through some of them you see the Gauri Kund section again. So it's a very cool spot to hang out. I don't know why nobody comes here, and all the tour guides, they are running around the typical circuit, so even they are not coming over here. There's like 0 people so all to myself, and it does give like a feel like you're climbing the Great Wall of China, only this is probably not as long. It's still pretty long. So that was indeed the Vijay Sthamb. I saw the board sign on the way out that I didn't see on the way in. But yeah, structurally it was 9-story high, so it made sense that it was Vijay Sthamb. Now we are in Rani Padmavati's palace, and she was one of the known Ranis, and we made a Bollywood movie about it as well. She committed Johar, which is the Rajput tradition of where the women used to jump in the fire with their children while the men go out to war. So there is no capturing of the, so even if the opponents captured the palace, they would not get any women or children to pry on. So they just like dead bodies everywhere, and they would have to start from fresh. So that was the tradition there, and this is her palace. And I read on the board sign there's supposed to be a water body, and it's a Jal Mahal, so probably have to go through one of these gates while being careful of these langurs. Unfortunately, their population is uncontrolled and people are feeding them, so they're getting more and more aggressive. So be very careful while you're here and try not to feed them. They are wildlife. These must be the courtyards. There's another one there. Probably somewhere after this is the actual Jal Mahal. Let's go up there and take an aerial view to try and orient ourselves. And there it is, but the water body is not super clean, and the staircase probably would be the access point. And I think this is where when the Mughal ruler demanded to see the face of Rani Padmavati, she came and stood there, and they showed a reflection of her in the lake, and where he was seated, the king held up a mirror. So basically his wish was to see Rani Padmavati's face, but it was not done in person, but more like a reflection instead. So his wishes were fulfilled, because Rajputs treat all their guests, be it an opponent or a friendly face, with respect. So that was their thing. So you could look up the movie Padmavati, that was later renamed as Padmavat. Some of it might have been modified to suit the audience, but you could get a gist of what the story was like from back in the day. So I'm gonna walk around the palace a little bit. Her palace is also quite big, lots of courtyard area, different quarters, and lots of viewing spots as well. So nice and clean green area. So after the Rani Padmavati Palace, there isn't much further up. It's just empty ground. So the guard said you could turn around and start returning back. There are a few spots to check out there. And along the way, found a nice big lake. Well, it's still a pond. So decided to come check out. There are some dholes playing, so enjoying that from a distance. And starting the journey bit by bit. Still waiting for Kumbhalgarh Palace, and so this has like a few different palaces, few different temples, as I said. So this is like a city within a city. And back in the day, the kings used to build their forts such that, you know, when there used to be enemy threat, they used to just close off all doors of the fort, and it was a self-sustaining city. So you never had to leave. There was like enough ration and everything stockpiled for a long term, so you could just stay, survive inside until the situation outside has improved. So, and only the warriors used to go out and fight the battles. So it's kind of built like that, and it's very interesting experience to check it out every time. Thankfully, still cloudy. Almost 9:30 a.m. We've been at it for like 2 hours now, and still a lot more to go. So let's enjoy by the pond, and then we'll continue further. Oh, looks like there are fishes in here. You see some wiggly tails, some black fishes. Yeah, over there. Pretty big ones also here. Can't really see their face because the water is completely dark green, but here they surfaced a little bit, so they are playing around. So that behind me is the temple of Meera, where she dedicated her life to the worship of Lord Krishna. And this is also where she was given poison that turned into nectar. And her husband died 2 years later, and then onwards she became a devout follower. So this was explained in the Light and Sound show, and we read about this in the history as well. And her hymns are very popular. So if you look up Meera chants on YouTube, you'll probably find a whole bunch of those. So it's a nice temple premises. There's one big temple here. There's Meera temple over there. And yeah, so we're kind of like driving backwards and seeing what else we find around. So I've just made it to Ratan Singh's palace. This is like one of those offbeat places. So it's still inside the fort premises, but barely anybody finds this place because they don't have any board signs for this. There's only one at the T junction where you turn right for most of the points. And if you take a guide, they're never gonna bring you here because this is like a little bit off the track for them. So they're gonna drop you off at the handicraft shops, and that's that. So I was just talking with the guard bhaiya here, and he did confirm that yeah, barely anybody find this place, and typically when they're taking this route to exit, that's when they randomly stumble upon this. And sometimes the guides they keep their ticket. So there's a 40 rupees entrance ticket to this fort premises, and if you don't have that, you're not allowed entrance in here, and the guides keep them as hostage for some of the tour groups, which is kind of sad. Like, this is not a good behavior. Like, let people enjoy if they want to see something after they're done touring with you as well. But yeah, we were just discussing how things have changed. But anyway, so there's also a Ratneshwar reservoir there. There's a temple there, and then this is the fort palace. So let's explore this a little bit. Looks like they're doing some restoration work. Still, it's pretty well maintained, I'd say. and guard bhaiya confirmed that this is the last point along this area. So you do cross by a village. So initially I thought I'm completely lost. I entered into the village now and there's nothing else to see, but I kept on going just in case I find something interesting. And it was a good idea that I came all this far. And then after this we go back to the T junction and we start heading back. We're going to find the light and sound show in that park where I was last time, and that's pretty much the end of the fort. And then you'll exit through the 4 or 5 gates. But this is a very nice palace. Like, I think after full restoration would look really, really cool. That's the temple which is currently closed, but I like this place. There's the Ratneshwar pond right there. Some buffaloes taking a swim and some pigeons enjoying. Other than that, there's nobody around. Because, as I said, there's barely one board that gets you curious that there's this palace here, and then after that there's nothing. So if you're lucky, you end up here. If you're not, probably gonna give up and walk, like return back to the familiar route where everything is marked. Alright, time to find a way out of here and find ourselves some brunch now. It's full heat and I'm getting very, very hungry. I've been walking around, trekking along this place since the morning. So it's finally evening hours, came out for a short ride to grab some snacks, skipped lunch, so was a little bit hungry. Came out to this massive shop. It's Agra chaat corner, extends from all the way over there to here. I had high hopes thinking it was a big shop, but I was a little bit disappointed. The food wasn't tasty and I found a strand of wood in my kulcha, which wasn't a good experience, and the kulcha was shaped more like a hot dog, so I wasn't even full at the end of it. And when I argued about it, they said, yeah, we outsource everything, so we didn't make it and whatnot, and they gave me a 20 rupees discount, which is not what I expected, so not a great experience. Anyway, it's getting super cloudy, lots of black clouds, so gonna ride around a little bit. I was looking for some fruit juices or shakes, they didn't have any, so probably gonna drive around a little bit to look for some shake, and that should be the end of this vlog. I'll see you again in another episode of the India Darshan travel series, as the next vlog will be on the move. Still not sure if we'll arrive all the way to Jaipur, but that's at least the plan. Anyway, see you again the next time. Until then, take care.